Welcome back. More than 30 years later, 34 years to be exact, the trial for the assassination of former Burkina Faso President Thomas Sankara and the trial of Blaise Compaoré and 13 others in relation to that assassination of Thomas Sankara is going ahead. It is starting in Burkina Faso today. Well, Sankara was killed in a hail of bullets from a hit squad in October 1987. It resulted in his friend Blaise Compaoré being installed as president. Compaoré is facing charges of murder, harming state security, and being complicit in the concealment of corpses, along with his former right-hand man, Gilbert Diendere. Senior research consultant from the Institute for Security Studies, Dr. David Zounmenou, joins me now for a conversation on this. Needless to say, Doc, I believe this is a hugely significant moment. Someone being brought, in the dock for the killing of Thomas Sankara, who was one of the, great leaders, really, of the 80s, that period on the African continent. Perhaps I'm getting it wrong. Perhaps I'm overly excited. Set me straight if I am.
I join you in the over-excitement, Thulasizwe. This is a very important and significant historical moment for people as young as me. I think we remain still very much young when Thomas Sankara was gunned down by his close friend Blaise Compaoré because of what he represented for the youth. 34 years, the whole country, not to say the whole continent, was waiting to know the truth about his assassinations, to understand the role played by Blaise Compaoré and his friend, but among other things, for justice to be served and for the family to know exactly what's happened to their loved one. So today marks the beginning of something that's very significant for the continent, and I think the whole Africa is waiting in anticipation to see what will be the outcome of this trial.
Is anything taken away, Dr. Zounmenou, by the fact that Blaise Compaoré will not be in the dock and that he's being tried in absentia, of course, having fled to Côte d'Ivoire, where he was granted citizenship?
No, I don't think so, because it is already established in the mind of many people, and also the preliminary work completed by those who are in charge of the trial, to establish who is the main beneficiary or who are the main beneficiaries of the assassination of Thomas Sankara in Burkina Faso. And you see that attitude of Blaise Compaoré began since 2015, following the revolution that brought him down from power. He sold Ivorian citizenship and sought refuge first in Côte d'Ivoire and got the citizenship in Côte d'Ivoire just to evade justice. But I think the young people in Burkina Faso, citizens in West Africa, and those who want to know the truth about Sankara on this continent remain committed to assist the family and those who are involved to unearth the truth and expose the role that Blaise Compaoré, together with some leaders within the region and outside the region, played in silencing someone who just want the continent to move forward.
In the polarized context of the 80s, when Thomas Sankara led Burkina Faso, it was quite easy, I suppose, to have his leadership qualities lost in the ideological battles that were taking place. It perhaps was easy to have some segments of perhaps the international community easily dismiss him as a leftist, potentially a communist. Now, 34 years later, with reflection and hindsight, what made Thomas Sankara a great leader? Why do we as Africans continue to pine for that kind of leadership, at least some of us?
You will understand that since then, the continent is repleted with leaders who simply sold out their countries, destroyed the economy, killed the political and socio-economic aspirations of their citizens, to the extent that the lack of Thomas Sankara, Patrice Lumumba, Amilcar Cabral become the scarce commodities. Those were leaders who believe in true independence of the continent. Those were the leaders who believe that women need to be empowered. And given what he has done in Burkina Faso, he stood clearly out of all those leaders who were appointed from outside, either because of their hypocrisy, ideological hypocrisy, or because they are allegiance to superpowers to lead their country into abyss of war, political disorder, poverty, and unemployment. Today, still, Thomas Sankara continues to inspire many young people in Burkina Faso. The revolutionary spirit and the search for truth and ethical leadership, committed leadership, remain very critical in the social movement in Burkina Faso, and that's what has explained the success of the revolution in 2015 that prevented Blaise Compaoré to amend the constitution to remain eternally in the power. So his spirit is very much alive, and that's what Africa is looking for today: young, committed, dedicated leaders to uplift the continent from the stability, the chronic instability in which many of the countries found themselves today.
All right, thank you. I've got to thank you for that. I'm out of time. We could go on and on and on, you and I, about Thomas Sankara, but I think let's leave it there for now. We'll pick up this conversation at a future date. That's Dr. David Zounmenou there, reflecting on the life and times of Thomas Sankara on the day on which a trial, some kind of a trial at least, is taking place in Burkina Faso, the land of the upright, today in relation to the killing in 1987 of Thomas Sankara.